I guess we're all set too. We'll open the Scituate Board of Health meeting, Selectmen's Hearing Room, Monday, October 7th, 2013. Take a motion to accept the agenda.
Make a motion to accept the agenda for Monday, October 7th.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Approved meeting minutes.
Yeah, I've gone through them. We can do one at a time, but I actually have, I didn't see any problems.
I didn't see anything either. That was for, so this is an approval for meeting minutes for June 3rd, 2013, June 17th, 2013, and July 1st, 2013.
Correct.
These are all still you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion that we accept the minutes for June 3rd, June 17th, and July 1st.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think with that, now you're fully on board.
That's the last one. Yeah, I believe that's right around the date. Yeah.
Okay. All right, timing's almost there. We got about 2 minutes. And anything you want to add for some filler?
Oh, well, yeah. We are just about finished purging the files. We have just some odds and ends. Bernice Brown is still helping us. We're very grateful for that. We haven't been given a definitive date yet, but they are working on archives right now. And they are blocking us getting to some of the boxes we have to look at, but that should be rectified by tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that, and it's been a tremendous amount of work, but we've had some very nice seniors helping us, and we do appreciate that. I forwarded you some correspondence email from Tom Thompson. I didn't give you the attached letter, which is basically talking about fast testing. I tried to print it out for you tonight, but it won't print out, so I will have to forward it separately to you. Patricia has talked to me, and so has Jim Toomey. And we already know that Gordon isn't going to, want to pay for the fast testing. But basically, what Tom is suggesting is that we ask DP to amend the protocol to allow fast testing, and then we would have to, if that's something you would want to pursue, then we'd have to find a funding source. If we don't find a funding source, then nothing would happen. And, DP has already been adamant that the slow method is what will be used for compliance. So it's simply having qualified people out there at the same time as an opportunity to gather more information. And that's
So this might be a one-step process. We have to go through the testing we've already approved, and if there's an issue, then maybe the fast testing.
No, this would be doing the
Fast testing along with the
at the
Yes.
same time.
the standard testing.
But but we would only, for compliance, we would only use the slow tests. I mean,
Wait.
What's the extra cost, though? Is it
Well,
substantially extra?
Well, Tech Environmental came up with an estimate of $800 a night for additional
As
tests.
opposed to, on top of.
Yeah.
What's the base price?
Whatever Gordon's paying.
Yeah, but what is that base price? I'm just curious.
I think we had that, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't remember off
I
the
mean, I
top of
think
my
here's the
head.
problem. We spent 6 to 7 months, developing a protocol, and a lot of hard work by Mr. Thompson and Mr. Kelly and Mrs. Thompson and Mr. Darty and the turbine people and the steering committee and yourself, and we hashed a lot of that out, and the board did take a vote, and there's a lot of, it's an evolving process at the state level right now. And Mr. Darty and Mr. Kelly that testified, and Mr. McKeever's testified there. I think it's going to be hard for us to sort of keep up with the evolution there. And we voted on we developed a protocol. We voted unanimously, and the wind direction, it fell through the cracks, but if it was misprinted, that somehow got derailed. And I just think it's confusing. We got something back from Tech Environmental, not only the costs, but sort of a separate testing, and then there was a disagreement on whether it was the same equipment or whatnot. I mean, I just think we're trying to add, you know, we need to get done what we spent 7 months designing with input from turbine people, neighborhood, Mr. Thompson, Mrs.
Well, it's not any additional time. It's just additional,
Then I think
Stuff.
board needs, there is a vote, if we need to re-vote, we re-vote, and if we don't, then we stay with what we've got.
yeah, well, listen, what I'm gonna do is,
Yeah.
I'm gonna forward you Tom's letter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, what it would be is a request asking DEP to add it. Hey, we would still have to go through town council. So, and then if it gets to DEP, it would have to be approved by DEP before it would even be available to be done.
And-
Now, how long is this gonna
Right.
take? We don't know.
And-
When are we gonna be testing
and-
again? We don't
And
know.
once again, I think we're trying to catch a moving rock here, and I think we've developed something, and we need to definitively do that before anything.
That's fine.
That's only, that's.
We don't even know what the DEP would say, or, I mean, it
Correct.
could be an
I-
18-month process. with
Well,
them.
DEP approved that kind of testing for
For
Kingston.
Kingston. But how long did it take them?
It took a long time.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not the right thing to do, per se. I'm saying that we have something in place and we're trying to.
Yeah, I
we're trying to
understand.
go-
I totally
I think that's what I
Catch
was
up.
looking at,
And-
is saying we've
and-
already.
And it's a
Yeah.
confusing enough
Yeah.
issue to then try to keep adding on. And the board took a vote to change the wind direction, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, that's all we voted on,
well, that and the capacity,
and the power.
Yeah.
And that's what we have.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, we'll have to look at that letter and see before we get into
Yeah, I
detail
mean,
of the
I'm just,
discussion.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying what it is.
Okay.
So,
The DEP, I mean, the letter saying we did it and whatever, I mean, for all we know with this government shutdown, that's gonna fall on deaf ears and sit in somebody's desk for God knows how long.
Yeah.
You know?
no, because it's
That's
DEP,
state
it's
level.
not, it's state, not feds.
Oh, let's stay that, that's true. That's true. That is true. That is true. That is true. Yeah, that is true.
Wait, some of us are still working.
Yeah, that is true.
So, that's fine, that's fine. I wasn't asking for your vote for tonight, I was just
No,
making you,
couldn't even-
couldn't even-
giving you for the information.
Yeah.
I was gonna try and give you the hard copy tonight, but I don't have it,
Mhm.
it won't print, so I'll email it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at it and see what.
Yeah, so that's
We take a
really
look at it
all.
with an open mind and see what happens.
Yeah. Just to recap, the summer was very busy. I'm gonna be hearing from Nellie, I'm sure, about last Saturday. We didn't have a good experience with permitting in this chamber. There was,
And no Scituate?
a lack of understanding of what we need, so I'm going to have a little meeting with a few of them. And make things a little clearer so that we're not chasing people at the last minute, including people from out of state. Just so you know, in my 25 years of being here, this past summer was the worst for beach closures ever. I have never had to close 4 beaches before. 3, yes. 4, no. So I just think it's a function of the weather and the storm flow, and thank goodness we didn't have to do multiple days.
One of the beach closes though, wasn't it after a rain event? It was
Oh,
early.
several of them.
It was early in the season though, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we had that one a year or two ago that Sand Hill seemed to be repeatedly closed, and I mean, we looked at that pretty extensively.
Oh, we had lots of extra testing on that one. The state even picked up the bill for it.
Right, but we did a lot of stuff by looking in catch basins, and we checked other areas
Yeah.
of testing besides that to see if we could bring it in, but this one here seemed like it was a rain event. It's nothing that we could do. It's well out of our control.
Yeah, unless they put some kind of filtration systems in the storm drains or something, or get a better cap or something. But yeah,
Did the phones ring a lot because of the beach closures?
they always ring when the beaches are closed. It's a given, something you can look forward to. So, yeah, I mean, people are pretty reasonable. And a lot of them, you know, like, we don't force people out of the water or forcibly keep them out of the water. You just make the lifeguards inform them, and then it's swim at your own risk. Because some people could care less. And quite frankly, the results we're going on are 24 hours and 4 tides ago, so it doesn't, the water quality isn't the same, so. But
It's
the
more
best-
likely too, if you drink it, you might get a stomach ache, or if you get it in your ear, you might get a,
Infection.
Yeah,
infection.
it's GI and skin rash and stuff like that, so, you know, whatever. I mean, a lot of parents are being vigilant about it, and that's fine, that's their choice.
absolutely,
But
why we test.
you know, I mean, we did have one where we had to expose we exceeded the geo mean, which I still do not understand why they have that standard, but, and yet the actual sample came back fine, within standards, so, but the geo mean was exceeded, so. I don't know how that works. Okay, so we still have on our plate the turbine. We're going tonight look at tobacco rules and regs. We are making progress with the grease traps. Bill Von Eiderstein, our plumbing inspector, and I are going over everything, and where possible, they're going outside. If they can't go outside because there's no room or they don't own the land, then we're doing as best possible inside. We found several places that have had additional sinks that aren't connected to the only grease trap that does exist, so more power to us for putting in extras and bigger ones. So Barker has submitted an outside grease trap plan. I just have
Oh,
to.
good.
I just have to finalize the review on that. Mill Wharf has as well. The plans that the Hadley Country Club submitted are acceptable.
Good.
So,
And when you accept the plan, that gives them the green light to do it, and it's acceptable. And that's what it's gonna take, is for you to approve.
yeah.
And it could be that they already have an existing situation that works. You will they'll ask for you in writing if that's acceptable, and you are gonna either say yes or no. Everybody's gonna get a response from you.
Well, I pretty
guess.
much know that Jamie's is okay because we are in tight tank. I was there when we put in the system for PJ, so I know we sized that tank. Was there when we put in the system for the River House, I know we sized that one.
River House, you're dating yourself.
Not that River House.
No, but I mean, if you
the
have a
other one.
maintenance,
River Club, whatever it
if
is.
you have a maintenance man, a property manager, kitchen, that comes in, he's gonna be assured, he's gonna feel comfortable, or a general manager of some, coming in, they're gonna have assurance that, that you.
We're
approved-
working.
yeah, That you accepted something, and that's what they're gonna do. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. The galley still hasn't opened. They're shooting for the middle of the month, so I haven't heard from them, so maybe next week or so we'll find out about them. Brian Flynn from Norwell will be covering. I'm on vacation the rest of the week. Finally vacation, I don't have to look after somebody. And what else did I want to tell you? Something.
Do we need someone to look after you?
It's my husband's job this week. The 23rd, the night of the 22nd, there's going to be a public CRS meeting. That's about the flood insurance. It should be well attended and probably quite busy. And then the 23rd through the 25th, I'll be at the health officers' annual conference. I have to go and get my credits for my certifications. So there won't be any coverage per se, but I'm only an hour or less away, so, maybe I'll have my phone numbers and I can beat it on back if they need me. And then town meeting will be November 4th. So, mark your calendars.
Semi-annual town meeting, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a special because there's annual business that's always done at the annual. So this is leftovers. or new things that need
And the
prompt
library-
attention.
The library vote too, right?
The library vote, I think might be a master plan vote. There'll also be something on the water pipes. There'll be a lot of costly items for you to make major decisions on.
All right, calendar's marked.
Of course, you're in Humrock, you can't brown So that's where we are with that. And then if we can decide what we're interested in tonight on the tobacco rules and regs, then I can get in contact with the people and we can,
Okay, so we'll move to that. You're good with your,
yeah,
okay.
unless we got questions.
Any questions?
No, you went over everything great.
No?
Congratulations on your 25 years.
No, thank you. Seems like only yesterday.
Zach, congratulations on
My hair was a
going
different
to
color, I was
something.
40 pounds lighter, I was on half as many meds, my knees didn't hurt. So.
Knees hurt from going to church, I
I
imagine.
can't do that anymore, I can't kneel in church anymore, the knees are too bad.
Too much kneeling at church.
Believe me, I've prayed
Asking
before
for
with this job, believe me.
All right, well, we'll move along, all
Yeah.
kidding aside. Discussion, revision of tobacco rules and regulations.
Okay.
Public, I guess that's it right there.
Yeah, this is not a public hearing other than a public meeting.
Yeah.
Things have evolved in this area, and then we need to evolve with our regulations. And what you have before you is a menu of different kinds that we can select. And I would like to see at a very minimum, something on hookah bars, something on cigar bars, and something on the flavored tobaccos and possibly the e-cigarettes. Because even though with the cigarettes, the smoke is not the issue, they still have a nicotine drug that the user is exposed to and can be addicted to. So it's eliminating smoke, but it's not necessarily eliminating the addiction.
Right. And they're not approved by the FDA as of right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know where it's a drug delivery system, whether it ever will be approved by FDA, because there's some drugs they don't even approve apparently, but, the email that I showed you sort of is very good and outlines a procedure and the help we can get to get this accomplished. And probably, if the board can figure out what they want, I can work with these people. We can come up with the proposed regs. You can go through them at a meeting, and if you're happy with them, then all we have to do is propose a hearing. And then at the conclusion of the hearing, you could vote, and what you do approve could go into effect as soon as you pick an effective date or upon printing. So I know this is a bigger topic, but as opposed to dealing with wells and wind turbine, this is, I think, a shorter project for the board to accomplish. And I think it is something that we need to do, because we haven't visited these in a while. And you know that I specifically asked a question on compliance checks, which is why this additional information's in here. And I will be checking with these people so I can bring that information forward to the board. And we might be able to pursue, have enough information that I can take it to the town administrator, maybe we can get create a revolving account with the tobacco permit fees that would subsidize the compliance checks.
I have a question. Last year, when I was reading some of the past minutes, I noticed that the Shell station on Plum Street, they got busted. Who, was that a state sting? Where was that? How was that set up?
They have, the feds do a sting. Not very often and not to all the places. When we had compliance checks, because we were operating in a South Shore collaborative that had a state grant to do it, we were one of the most successful tobacco collaboratives in the state, so much so that they kept adding people onto ours because we were doing such a good job. We had our own people following the state protocol, arranging with Scituate kids to do the compliance checks. And we did all of our places, it varied from 2 to 4 times a year.
Okay.
So.
That state grant is obviously gone now.
Oh, yeah, we had less than a month and a month.
Tax is still on the cigarettes for it, though.
It's going to other places, as you well know.
Yeah.
The legislatures and Congress seem to be very good at spending people's money in other places, if at all.
Syntax.
So,
Question. You just brought up a point. Shell, are they clear with us? They good?
they
Thank you, by the way.
They had so many failures in their compliance checks that we had a point where we actually made them remove everything from the store for 7 days.
No, I remember that. I
And we
remember
did do that.
Shutting them down, but I'm talking about the last go-around we had with them a couple months ago.
Oh, you mean with the feds? Yeah, because I went online and I found out what the thing was.
They
so,
did the training and all that?
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
So they followed up good. Okay.
don't know if it'll work, but we can hope.
Well, this information you provided, I mean, my own self, I've been away for a week and a half, and I skimmed through it, but I didn't really read it. And I'd like to, because it interests me to know, I guess I have questions. At these hookah bars, these cigar bars, I mean, is it legal in Massachusetts?
It can be.
It can be. Is it at the state level or is it at the town level? And if you have a
Most of
cigar bar, can you have a cigarette bar? I mean,
No, you can't have a cigarette bar. They are, for some reason, they are allowing a way to have a cigar bar.
right. And now we have this new hookah thing, which is,
The hookah thing is actually quite an old thing. It comes from the Middle East. However, the biggest concern there is that everyone says, well, you have your own stuff, it's sanitary. Well, it isn't, because you're using some of the same pieces that somebody else used.
I'll give you a good example. Last week when I was in Vegas, I stayed at the Mirage. Mirage right outside, they have a hookah bar. And, walking in and out of the Mirage, and the hookahs, they're good size. The filtered water was nasty. It was just, and people sitting there drinking, smoking cigars and puffing out of the hookahs the hookahs.
Oh, boy, you're going to be in trouble.
That's a Freudian slip. Oh, boy, I'm going to be red on TV, too.
You don't have to, because Michael's beat red over there.
I'm embarrassed for you.
But the moral of the story is the water was nasty,
Yeah.
and I thought about asking, I was just asking questions like how often they change it, but the water was pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
yeah, without coming to any decision tonight, that was kind of on my thought as well, and just, curiosity, so.
Right.
Well, as it stands now, if somebody wanted to open up, because we don't have anything in place, it would be ambiguous, or would they need the board's approval?
Well, they would still have to meet all the rules that we already have.
Yeah.
It's possible they could. And that's why I don't want to take a very long time with this.
Right, before somebody
And
gets
all right, e-cigarettes sold in town.
I don't know.
Well, if somebody sells cigarettes, is it the same category?
I don't believe so.
See, that's something I have to grapple with too, between health and civil rights of people. It's a tough thing. To me, it is. To me, I just,
Well,
when
frankly-
cigarettes were banned, I thought it was the smoke from the cigarette, not the nicotine. I never considered nicotine.
Well, the point of
In
banning
the banning of the cigarettes, yeah.
e-cigarettes is for the kids. You don't want
Because
the kids
they-
to be exposed to the drug.
to the nicotine, but What do you mean by that? Is there an exhaust of nicotine that they're gonna aid and take to their body, or the fact that they may pick it up and give it a try because mommy and daddy are doing it?
No.
The drug, that you can't have to be at least 18 to participate.
The
Yeah.
e-cigarette is a delivery system for a nicotine drug.
Right.
Like before it was the cigarette, and the cigarette produced smoke. This time, there's no smoke, but they're still delivering a drug that can be addictive.
Oh, it's a vapor.
Right, but that's my point, is the smoke, I thought, was the health issue, not the nicotine to the individual person.
Right, and that's what the e-cigarette does, is it gets rid of the carcinogens, and it just delivers the nicotine, and you're right, everything they always said was the carcinogens is in the smoke
Secondhand smoke.
is what's bad.
That's why I gotta do some research here. To me, there's some issues beyond health. I mean, you can't go into everybody's household and tell them what they can and can't do, I think, in
Well,
public places. But if they're not hurting the public, is nicotine an outlawed drug? I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Well, I think we want to do it for the kids. Not, if you're over 18, you do it. But if you're not over 18,
So we'd be considering, no decision tonight, considering banning them in public places, like cigarettes, anywhere a cigarette is banned, then an e-cigarette is banned?
there is some information she gave me on that, and I'll have to get back to you, because I don't know that I specifically remember what it said, but there is an inference about something like that. I'm not sure. And I don't want to misspeak, especially because the greater public might misunderstand besides you guys if I do. So I will try. I know there's something on it, and I just can't remember the specific of it right off the top of my head. But there is some kind of thing that is, something against it, I think.
There's people against everything, you can.
Well, I think it's something about being in the workplace, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to check.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. Again, I'll have to read on it. I think it's a good topic for debate, and whether there's a right answer, a wrong answer, or an answer that you're just not going to be happy with. I think it's debatable anyways before any quick knee-jerk decisions made.
And what kind of lashback are you gonna get from some of these retailers as we start banning things, or start wanting to ban blunt wraps, for instance, or whatever is on this list? I mean, is that going to be a major issue? Yes, no, maybe?
They get paid by the tobacco companies.
They do, I know.
That'd be the price of doing business.
Right.
On the, back to the substitute, we're almost thinking of setting up a private collaborative. A private company is gonna do what the collaborative did. On the compliance.
Well, we
testing.
might be hiring a consultant to do the compliance checks.
On the revolving account, how would that revolving account get funded and then refunded?
By the permit fees.
Which is how much?
Like $50, $75 a license?
Something like that. And
Well,
we would probably just raise it to 100 and cover it.
Okay, because it kind of seems like the testing would cost more than the permit fees. That's really what I'm.
Well,
$35 an hour, and then the 8 to 12 for the kid to go do the sting. I mean, it's not going to take long before that.
well, yeah, that's why
$1,200 is
before, I mean, that's why I have to talk to these people on what actual costs are
Mm-hmm.
and what availability there is to get somebody. But that is the kind of research we need to do to, justify putting them in place and having a mechanism that works to get them done.
In
it's one thing we have to look
conjunction
at.
with that, we could have a zero tolerance, and every time you're offended, I mean, you're an offender, you get whacked $100, but then we almost are becoming our own little revenue agents to fund the testing. To fund the compliance.
Well, you can.
No different than the restaurant testing.
Yeah, exactly. If you cost me send my consultant in again because you don't have a good inspection, then you're gonna cover the cost of my consultant.
Mm-hmm. No, I was a huge fan of the collaborative. I thought that was the most
It was
beneficial.
It
It's a,
it
you
was
know,
so
big-
effective.
Big help to keep kids from getting the cigarettes, you know, recreationally, and it worked out great.
Yeah, and when the state was funding, it took us a long while to get them to do public service announcements. But we kept
Mhm.
batting them down till finally they did fund them. And then when they did fund them, they had huge success with, you know, preventing it. So, you know, and there were speakers and things like that of sufferers and people with, you know.
Yeah. I'd love to get the public input. I mean, it's a shame that people come out for certain issues, and then, you know, when there's a big public issue, we don't get
Well,
well
when
attended. I think you know that's
Until the decision's made, then we made the wrong one.
I think that's unfortunate. You know, whether it be wells or fluoridation or tobacco, and that affects the health and safety of every person in the town. I think I would love to see more public.
I remember when we first passed tobacco regs, we did have people from the community come out and speak, and we had some kids too from school, and it was very nice, and you know, I welcome input, good or that agrees with us or doesn't agree with us. I mean, I think the more information and the more participation, the better decision you make, whether it's against or for.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, no, without a question.
So,
So you want to read through it?
yeah.
So you want to read through it, and we'll come back and we'll further discuss.
Yeah, because I think it's opened up the door for discussion anyways, and then we can kind of pick away at it, and I think there'll be, like I said, there's some stuff to wrestle with in my own mind right now without even reading
We
through.
could ask Jennifer to schedule Sarah to come though, you know, if she has a busy schedule, we could just put something on the books. That'll give us a little time to prepare, and then she can come and do her presentation, you know, if it's 6 weeks, whatever it may be.
Well, I mean,
Well, why don't we have a first?
I would ask you to do this. Review these decisions. Tell me which ones you have questions on. You don't have to be specific. Just tell me which ones you have questions on. And if there's some that you have, that you think you want to do and support outright, you don't have any problem with, then tell me those two. So that's 2 minor lists. You can basically, if you can scan that in, you can put one in, you know, star it or something that you want it, or put a question mark against it that you want more information. If you don't want it, just cross it out or something like that. And that way I can look at what you have and come up with a majority, and I can give her a heads up on the ones we have questions on.
That's like a lot of the stuff, if we put something in place, whether it be the zoning bylaws or the planning bylaws, I mean, they put something in place, and then if things need to be changed down the road to accommodate certain exceptions or whatnot, it gets done. But the key is having something in place.
Exactly. You know, we haven't dealt with this in years, and it's time we revisit it, there's no question, you know. You know, I really would like to be able to get the compliance checks reinstituted, so.
Yeah, were we working on that with a Plymouth County type thing, or a
Well,
Southeast Plymouth County? There was
I
discussion of that at one time ago.
I met with a lot of my colleagues.
Yeah.
Some people had, I think Hingham came up with extra money to fund it themselves. Randolph had one guy they hired who was doing it at, I think, minimal cost.
Well, Randolph's a little far away, no.
I know.
No offense to Randolph, but like Cohasset, Scituate,
Cohasset,
Norwell, Marshfield.
none of us have done anything with it because we're full up with everything else that's going on. I mean, I want to do regs, and that's something I could do at night, but to do compliance checks during the day and try and do everything else, it just wouldn't work.
How many tobacco licenses do you think we have in Scituate alone?
I think 13.
I think we've gone to, that's the 13, what I said, that's the $1,300.
Yeah.
That would get eaten up quick on this compliance.
You'd only be able to do like one a year.
Well, not necessarily, you have to wait and see. So, we'll see.
Yeah, but you gotta add in clerical costs and everything else.
Well, you have to be reasonable. You have to look at all your costs and set your monetary amounts in a reasonable manner that covers your costs. So, if you could get back to me, maybe next week with, ones you like, don't like, have questions, then I can call Sarah and see what her availability is. And give her information that we want more information on, And so it's a little homework, but I think you guys can handle it in between ball games.
That's right. Sox are on tonight.
What's the score, Mary?
They were winning when we came into the meeting. 1-0. It was early.
Okay, anything else?
I do have a quick question. Does the high school, do any of the schools of the high school have any literature or anything now that talks about smoking anyway?
They give out tickets.
They give out tickets, I did not know that. So where's that money go?
Probably into cleaning the bathrooms. I don't know.
We still got kids smoking in the high school, huh?
I think it's been cracked down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess
we
you
have
got kids
a-
there that are 18 though,
We
right?
have a new regime, and
Yeah.
I think they've been pretty strict over there.
I guess there's kids that are in high school that are 18, so they're legal to buy them anyways. I would hope to think that's where they were coming from.
Yeah. If they go smoke in their car, do they get caught? I doubt it. Do they light up as soon as they leave the school? Probably. Who knows?
All right, yeah.
I mean, we can only do so much, and, the rest is hopefully they learn.
Tickets, used to get suspended.
How would you know?
Because I got caught one time for not smoking, but I wouldn't tell on who was smoking, so I took the hit. I believe it was 2 days.
Oh. So how many fish did you catch?
What's that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, how many fish did I catch? Yeah.
Okay, so,
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I got, any other comment or question? Everybody's pretty
No,
good.
I
All right,
think
so we got some homework
We
to
have
do.
our homework to do, yeah.
Yeah, all right, motion to adjourn.
Yes, second motion?
I second the motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, all those in favor?